Hello and welcome to the 7th tutorial in this series. Today we're gonna finalize the model by adding the extra windows we didn't add in the previous tutorial, and then we're going to go ahead and add V-Ray materials to the model itself. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I want to do is I want to create this one-parter window. So if I go to the front viewport, you can see that all the windows I created were two-parters, so they are sliding windows which slide on top of each other. The windows that remain that I didn't add in the previous tutorial are all one-parter windows, so only one part of the window in the window itself. So what I want to do is I want to see where the openings are. To do that, I'm going to go to realistic mode. Now you can see everything in black are the openings. I'm going to select this window and shift drag it to the left like so. I'm going to open the group and isolate. After selecting the window itself, isolate the window. I'm going to select elements, go to select object, and select all this left part of the window, everything. Just select and delete. Next thing I want to do is take these vertices to the right like so, and we have a one-parter window. Let's unisolate it by clicking on the bulb, and now we need to make the window a little bit bigger, so I'm going to select these vertices on the left and make it a little bit bigger so it fits the opening like so, and I'm going to make this ledge smaller so it's like the width here is something like the width here, so 5 centimeters, something like that. This is fine. And let's close the group. So now we have a window, a one-parter window here, and I'm going to copy it, shift drag to all the openings that don't have windows in them. So 1, 2, we have this opening here and another one here, so I'm going to shift drag it down here. Let's place it in place like so. Okay, so this window, let's take it in a little bit. Alright. Oh, okay, so I'm going to go inside that building. Everything is black because I'm in realistic mode, so I'm going to hit shading, and I'm going to move this window inside like so. Okay, so now it is aligned on the y-axis. Now I need to make it smaller so it fits the opening. Let's go to the top viewport and see here in the plan which window it is. It is this one. So we have a little window here, and we have like a separation in the center. So let's see from the bottom part, from the ledge to the beginning of this line, we have about 40 centimeters. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the front viewport. Let's see this. I'm going to go to group, open, select the window, and just select F3 to see in wireframe mode. Select these vertices, F3 again, and move them to the right like so. So now we have this small window, but the frame of the window is way too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it thinner. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this opener here, because it's a fixed window, and I'm going to just make the frame smaller. So I'm going to take it up and take these vertices down, and this one to the right like so, and this one to the left like so, and the frame of the frame I'm going to make smaller also. F3 to see in a wireframe. Let's make it smaller. Let's take this vertices and take them up. Make this smaller. Take these vertices here and this one down here, like so. Okay, so now let's align the window itself. So I'm going to take the vertices on the right and move them like this. Vertices on the left, move them like this. I'm just aligning the window correctly. So this is fine. And the bottom part I'm going to take up a little bit, like so, like this. Alright, so now we have a smaller frame for the window. And we need to add a 40 centimeters from the bottom, the line in the center here. And I need to make the ledge smaller. So let's go to the front viewport. I'm going to take the vertices on the left and move them in, like so. I think the frame is too thin now. So let's make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to fix what I did. So make it a little bit bigger, like so. And on the right side, one second again, on the right side all the vertices except this one at the end and this one here. And I'm going to move them so that this will create a square, because then I know that this height is the same as this one, this width. So this is about right. Again, choose these vertices and move them in, like so. This is great. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's make a helper box to see 40 centimeters from the ledge. Take them up, like so. So now we have to create a line here in the center. So I'm going to create a box from here to the other side, like so. And we have length segments we don't need, so I'm going to hit 1, and width segments we don't need, so I'm going to hit 1 here also. So one segment in the width, one segment in the length. If I make it more, so there will be more segments. Alright, I'm going to delete this helper, and I'm going to choose this one we created, and let's move it into place. Okay, so I'm going to move it on the y-axis out, and I'm going to place it here. It's too thick, so I'm going to make it, the height will be like 3. That's fine. Place it here. Alright. I want to see where the glass is, so I'm going to select element and select the glass element. Okay, so it's in the center of the line we just created, which is great. I'm going to, let's go to material editor. I want to give this line the same material as this frame, so I'm going to go to the material editor, and I want to import this material into the editor. So I'm going to go to materials, pick from object, and pick the material from the frame. Now we have a couple of materials here. That's because these materials were created in the previous room tutorial. So we have the glass, the aluminium, the white aluminium, and everything else. I want to know they are all stacked in one multi-sub object. So this is one material which has all these materials in it, all the materials of the window. So in order to know which material this is in the frame, the gray one, I'm going to select a polygon with the material I want. So this polygon here, or this one here, it doesn't matter. Let's say this one. And I'm going to go down in the stack and see this number here. Set ID 1. If I select the glass, you can see the set ID is on 2. What this means is set ID 1. This means that ID 1 is the material of this polygon. So ID 1 is this one, the brushed aluminium. I'm going to take it and drag it here and create an instance of it. So what that means, if I change something to this material, it will change automatically here in the stack. If I create a copy like so, one second, if I create a copy, You can see this material is not aligned to anything in the scene, and if I change something in this material here will not change because it's a different one, because this is only a copy of this one. So I don't want a copy, I want an instance. So let's make an instance of it, so everything I change here will change here. And now I can give this line here, let's go out of the editable poly here. I'm going to select the line and I'm going to give it this material, brushed aluminum material, like so. Alright, so now I want to connect it to the window, so I'm going to choose the window and attach this line here. Now it asks me about material. Match material IDs to material. This is fine. What this means that the material IDs will be matched. So we will have the material that was this material that we gave to this line will remain exactly the same as it was before. Sorry, I just wanted to attach something, never mind. Will remain exactly the same as it was before I attach it to the window. So in 99.9% of the cases you will need to click on what I clicked on, the first option. Let's go Control Z, back for a second, do that again. I'm going to select this line here. Okay, so we have the line, we have a material on it. I'm going to select the window and hit attach this line here. And I'm going to leave it on the first one, match material ID to material. This will leave the same material that was on the line. Alright. I'm hoping that wasn't too confusing. Okay, so now we have this window, little window here. Let's close it up. Close. And let's see, we have a small window here. Let's go to the top viewport and see this one. Okay, so it's exactly the same as this one. So I'm going to go to the front viewport and copy this window up here. So shift drag up here and create a copy of it. Alright, let's put it in place like so. That's fine. And now, because our second floor is a little bit bulging from the first floor, we need to align the window correctly. So I'm going to take it out like so. Let's go inside of the house and see where this window is aligned. That's pretty good, but let's just move it on place. Okay, so I want to move it exactly here, so that the beginning of the wall will be the beginning of the window. Now let's go to the outer side of this model. Okay, this is aligned, everything is fine. We have two windows that we created in the beginning. And we have two windows here. So I'm going to take this window, shift drag it here, create a copy, rotate it 90 degrees, like so. I want to go to the left viewport, which is viewport, which is this side of the house. So I'm going to hit L, and I'm going to go to realistic, and let's move this window into place. So I'm going to move it here. Let's place it like so. Okay, and group open. I'm going to select this window, take the vertices up here and take them down like so. Now I'm going to delete this handle and the bolts, okay, because they are in the way, and we actually don't need them because it's the outside of the house and nobody opens the window from the outside. So okay, so now I'm going to move it into place here like so. Let's make this ledge longer here on the side, so it's about the same as this side. This is fine. Close the group and let's go to perspective. I'm going to go back to shaded, sorry, and just move it into place like so. Okay, let's rotate the camera inside the house and align it to the wall. So I'm going to move it on the x-axis only, like so, and that's it. Let's go to the exterior. This window is aligned, everything is fine. Let's go back to the left viewport by hitting L, and I'm going to go back to realistic, and let's shift drag to this side, like so. Alright, so now we have the two windows here. Let's go back to shaded. And what I want to do is just copy it to this side of the house. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 1, control select 2, 3 and 4. These are the windows we created in this tutorial, and I'm going to shift drag them on the y-axis, create a copy of them, and what I'm going to do now is just add a mirror modifier to them. What this will do is mirror them on the axis I want. So I don't want to mirror them on this axis. I want to mirror them on not on the z-axis because it just rotates them 180 degrees. I want to mirror them on the y-axis. So now what happens is the windows were facing this direction, and now they are facing the other direction. So now I am going to move them on the y-axis inside. And let's move them on the y-axis only to align to the wall. This is fine. Okay, so everything is in place with these windows. Next, I want to add these two windows here and these windows up here. So let's go to the top viewport and see how this windows looks. Okay, so this is one window and this is one window also, and that's it. So let's go to the front viewport. I'm going to hit realistic so I can see the openings, and I'm going to take this window here and shift drag it down. You know what? No, I need a smaller frame for these windows because they are small, like this one. So what I'm going to do is shift drag this window down. I'm going to hit F3 to see in a wireframe. I'm going to open the group and just select this element here, center element, and delete it because I won't need it for this window. Next thing I'm going to do is select these vertices down here, take them up like so, take these vertices to the right like so, and take this ledge up to the beginning of the window like so, and take these vertices of the ledge to the right, so we have 5 centimeters like on this side. This is great. Okay, so now what I want to do is take these down vertices here and just take them up a little bit from the ledge, and the vertices on top here, take them down to here. So the highest vertice will be aligned with the opening. So this is fine. We have the first window of the basement. Let's close it. Now I want to copy it to this side, to this small one. I'm going to go to the front viewport, shift drag to here, and group open, F3 to see it in wireframe, and just drag on the y-axis to make it smaller, like so. Now I'm going to take this ledge, make it smaller, like so. Alright, and let's close the group. I want to mirror them to the other side, to here. Oh, never mind, you don't have windows here because the ground here is taller. So alright, so we have the windows on this side. Let's go to shaded. What windows are left? We have one window here, one here, and that's it for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this window here, shift drag it to the front of the house, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, I'm sorry, like so. No, you know what? Never mind, Control Z, because the window is aligned to this side, so I don't need to rotate. Now I'm going to take it on the X and Y axis into place, into here. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky, because if I go to the top viewport, this window is hidden, so I need to place it in place. So first of all, let's choose the plan and hide it. And now I'm going to move the window to the left on the x-axis, like so. Open the group, make it smaller by choosing these vertices and taking them to the left to align with this line, which I think is the line of the opening. Let's go back to the perspective viewport and see. Yeah, that's the correct line. As you can see, the window ends in place. And close the group. No, one second. Open it back. Let's choose this ledge here and make it smaller, so this 5 centimeters will be exactly the same on this side, so like so. And I'm going to go with the camera to the inside of the house. Now I'm going to close the group and take it on the y-axis back, like so. Maybe just a little bit front, like this. Alright. So let's see if the height is fine. Yeah. Okay, so the opening is correct. Now I want to create exactly the same window here, so I'm going to shift drag on the y-axis to the other side. Let's rotate it at 180 degrees, so it will be rotated 180 degrees. And let's place the window in place. So let's take it back, go to the top viewport and see if the lines align. Okay, so this line and this line, they are fine. Let's go with the camera to the inside and place the window like so. Okay, so it's in place. Alright, everything is fine with these windows. What windows do we have left? Well, we have only these ones up here. So what I want to do is I want to copy this window to the top here. So I'm going to go to the front viewport, just shift drag it up. Let's choose this railing of the roof and hide it, because I want to see the openings. Alright, I'm going to take this window and place it in place and make it bigger so it aligns with the opening. Okay, group, open, choose this one, make it bigger, like so. And let's take this ledge down. You know what, we actually don't need a ledge for this window, because it's like a sun opening. You can't open this window, it's just for shows. So we don't have a ledge here. So what I'm going to do is choose these vertices down here and take them down, like so. Okay, let's align this window to the opening. Let's close the group and just move them on the y-axis back, like so. Alright, I'm going to place them in the center of the wall. That's because, again, this is not a real window, it's just for shows. You can't open or touch this window, so it's to catch the light. So this is fine for now. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to shift rotate it 90 degrees to create a new window, and let's place it here in the center. I'm going to go to the left viewport and align it to place, like so. Take these vertices and take them back, like this. Shift drag to create a copy of it to this opening. And the last window is, I'm going to take this one, shift drag it to the other side. Now if I rotate this window, I want to rotate it because the opening, well, actually it's fine, but let's say I need to rotate this window. If I rotate it like this, it will rotate correctly. And that's because our gizmo is in the center of the window. See for a second. No, actually the gizmo is in the left, but the rotate gizmo is in the center. But if it's not in the center, if I want to move the window from the center of the window, not from the side here, I need to align the gizmo to the window. The way I do this is I go to hierarchy, effect pivot only. Pivot is another name for gizmo, so this one here. Align pivot only and center to object. So now our gizmo slash pivot is centered to our object, to the window. It's just an FYI. Alright, so let's place this window in the center of the wall. Like so. That's fine. Alright, so we have windows up here. We have all the windows everywhere. That's great. Let's unhide everything. Unhide all. So now we have all the windows of our building aligned correctly. Next thing I want to do, we still have the entrance doors here and the entrance doors to the basement level. But because we're going to render the house from this direction, like so, we don't need to create them for now. Maybe after we finish this tutorial, I will create another tutorial for a view from this side, and then I will create the doors for this side of the house. But for now we don't need them. So what we're going to do now is give basic materials to this house. So okay, now we have basic materials for the windows themselves. That's because we created the materials in the interior modeling and rendering tutorials. If you want to see how we did that, you can go to the window creation tutorial in my channel. So I'm assuming you already watched that, so I'm going to go to the next point. Okay, so the first thing I want to give a material to is this rail here. So we have a glass rail with a chrome top handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see in the material of the window. Okay, so let's material, pick from object, and I want to pick the material from the window. So okay, so this is the material from the window. Now from this material I have the glass and the aluminium. What I want to take from it is the glass. So I'm going to select the glass and just drag it to its own slot. Create an instance of it because I want all the changes that I make here that will affect the glass of the windows themselves here. So okay, so I'm creating an instance. An instance is essentially like a twin brother, okay, to the object or material or everywhere. For instance, if I take this window here and I shift drag it to the left, and now I have an option to create a copy or create an instance. If I create a copy, and now let's open the group, and now I just move these vertices up here to up, nothing changes in the window that we copied this window from. Alright, now let's close the group and delete it. Now if I shift drag and create an instance of this window, all the changes that I will create in this window, like selecting these vertices here and taking them down and up, as you can see, the changes that I make here will affect this window also, and that's because this is a twin brother of this one. Okay, let's go Control Z back. Don't want to create a copy. Okay, so same logic applies to the materials. So if I create an instance of this glass material, let's drag it here, create an instance of it, every change that I will make in this material here will affect this material here. Alright, and everywhere in this program that you see instance is that's the idea behind it. Okay, so this is an instance of this one. So I can take this glass and apply it, just drag it to this glass here. Okay, so we have a glass material to the railing. Now we have this aluminium material in the windows. but I want to make it a chrome material, which is much more shiny. Okay, so let's just create a chrome material. I'm going to name it chrome. I'm going to change it from standard to V-Ray material. So I'm going to go to materials, V-Ray, V-Ray material, and I'm going to give it a color of black. Now I'm going to assign a background to the material so I can see the reflections in the material editor. Next thing I want to do is give it a reflection, a full reflection of 255 over 255 over 255. So it reflects everything. Refraction is 0 because we don't want it to be like glass transparent. It's not transparent, it's only very reflective. So this is essentially created the chrome material for us. So now if I apply this material here, this material will be chrome. Let's try F9, render it for a second. You can't see anything because it's black now, but because you don't have a reflection anywhere. But if I go to this view, let's try rendering for a second. Now you actually can't see a reflection here. Well, you can see just a little bit of reflection, but that's no good. If I change this diffuse color to white, you will see that the material changes to white and the black changes to black. This is strange. That's because we have the reflection on 100%. The reflection is all the way down to pure white. And that means that this object is 100% reflective. So how come can I see the black color of the material, of the diffuse slot? Because if it's 100% reflective, you cannot see the material itself. You can see only what it reflects, like a mirror. Because a mirror doesn't have a color. It's the same color as what it reflects. So the reason is because the Fresnel reflection is on. What this does is give a stronger reflection when you view at an angle. So if I look on an object, this is how most reflective material in nature work. If I view at this glass material, for instance, okay, at this angle, the reflection on this side will be much stronger than the reflection on this side because this is in front of us and this is like 90 degrees to us. So this is what the Fresnel reflection mimics. I don't want this to be a case in my chrome material because I want it to reflect 100% to every direction. So I'm going to uncheck this Fresnel reflection slot. And now as you can see, it doesn't matter what color I have here, white or black. The material will stay the same. It will reflect 100% to all directions. So let's try rendering it for a second. As you can see, it reflects everything. The black is the black from the background. So it's not actually black, it just reflects the black from the background. This is a true chrome material. I want to give it a little bit of like blurriness to the reflection. So I'm going to give this value reflection glossiness, take it down to 0.98. What this does makes the reflection more more blurred out. So you can see these lines here, okay? If I take this value down to 0.5, let's say, as you can see, everything is blurred out. So if I render it now, you can see that it still reflects to all direction, but it's very blurred out, the reflection. So I don't want it to be that blurred out because it's chrome, but I also don't want it to be 100% like a mirror. So I want to give it a value of so 1 is not blurred at all and 0 is 100% blurred. What I want to give it is a value of 0.95. So it's almost like a mirror, but not quite. If I go just a little bit towards the rail and I F9 render it, these lines are the reflection of the things on top of the building. So let's take this value a little bit down, 0.85. You see that the reflection starts to blur more. So 0.9 is fine for our chrome material. Now, another thing, the subdivision is the noise that I will see in the rendering. So if I render now, you can see there's a little bit of dotting here in the reflection. It's more visible if I give this value a smaller number, 0.2 for instance. You can see that it's very, very dotted. And in this instance, you can make it like the subdivision, make the subdivision bigger, so like 32, and then the dots will disappear. It will be much more smoother because the subdivision of the blurriness is higher. This will require more rendering time, but the result will be smoother and not dotty. But for our purposes of 0.95, it's almost a mirror, so you can't actually see the blurriness or the dots inside. So a subdivision of 8 is fine. Now when you give a subdivision value, you need to keep in mind that it's in multiplies of 8. So it's 8, 16, 32, 64. You can actually give it like a 9, but it's better if you just multiplied it by 2. The 8, 16, 32, 64. Alright, so the chrome material is done. So now we have a glass material and a chrome material here. And the last material I'm going to give this house in this tutorial is the walls. So the walls are a little bit like a beige of white. Let's create this material. I'm going to give it a V-Ray material. And I'm going to change the color to, let's make it pure white for a second. And the number for a yellowish material, this is from experience, is 255 in the red, 180 in the green, and 80 in the blue. So now we have this yellow tint. Now we can play with it. So I want to make it a little bit darker and make it a little less saturated, so a little more towards the whites, like so. This is the color. Make it just a little bit darker, like so. Alright, so this is the color for our house. You can give it every color you want. This is fine. This is what I want for this instance. So let's call it walls. And I'm going to select all the material, all the objects I want to assign this material to. So we have this wall here, this one here, all these, and this one. On this side we have this one. Alright. And now I'm going to assign this material to everything that I selected by clicking Assign Material to Selected. Now you can see we have a wall which is a little bit beige. So if I F9 render it, I hit F9 to render. You can see the color is a little bit beige. This is great. Next thing I want to do, if I go into the wall and I render it by hitting F9, you can see that the wall is very, very smooth. In real life you have like jumps in the wall, so like bumping in the wall. In order to add this effect, let's select all this material, all the objects this material is assigned to. So you can either control select everything, or you can click on the material itself, right click on it, and select by material and hit select. So now it selects every object in the scene that uses this material. This is much easier and saves time. Now let's hit on isolate. I want to see only the walls that I assigned this material to. Now I want to add, double click on it to see it in bigger view. Now I want to add a bump to it, so it will be bumpy. So I'm going to go to maps in the material and go to bump map and click on none and add a material here from maps called cellular. I'm going to double click it. Now as you can see you have like circles here. So you know what, not cellular. Let's give it another material. Let's go back to walls. right click and clear, and again hit on bump, and let's take a material named noise. This is much better. I'm going to hit noise. Now as you can see, it added noise to our material. Now the size of the noise is way too big. It's like ocean ripples or something. Let's make it a much smaller size. So from 63 I'm going to give it a 5. So now as you can see, it looks like a wall. It looks like a bumpy wall here. This is fine. The 5 is good. Now in order to see how it spreads on the wall, I need to click on Show Shaded Material in Viewport. So if I hit Show Shaded Material in Viewport on the material itself, you don't see the change because it will show you this diffuse color. But I want to see the bump, the noise on the walls, so I can know that the alignment of the noise on the wall is correct. So I'm going to go, let's go back, I'm going to go into the bump, I'm going to hit Show Shaded Material in Viewport, and now it all became gray. That's because you don't have a UVW map on the walls. So the alignment is not correct. You can't see the bump wall. Okay, so I'm going to choose everything, and I'm going to add a modifier named UVW map. Now you can see that something happens to the material. I need to make it a box because I want to align this material on all sides. So I'm give it a box, and let's give it a much smaller value. It's too big now. A value of maybe 100 over 100 over 100. So this is the bumpiness on the walls. It's still too big. Let's give it a value of 25. I think that's fine. And now if I render this, you can see the final results. So F9 to render. As you can see, you have a bumpiness, but it's way too big still. So what I want to do is not play with these measurements. I'm going to make the noise material smaller. So the size from 5 I'm going to make 1. Now let's try rendering it. Okay, this is much better. Let's go a little bit inside. Let's render it, F9, or hitting here, render production. As you can see, the wall have bumpiness like in real life. So when the light will fall on it, it won't look like a plastic surface. It will look with a little bit of bumpiness. So this is great. So let's go back from here and F9 it. You can't see from this distance anything, but you can see a little bit of dotting, and it adds details to the model, which is good for us. Okay, so let's unisolate everything. Let's unhide everything. And in the viewport, I don't want to see this bump map. I want to see the color of the wall. So I'm going to go choose this material, go back to walls, and hit here the Show Shaded Material in Viewport. Now I can see the diffuse color. Alright, so this is enough for this tutorial. In the next time I'm going to add the material for this balcony floor here. I'm going to add a floor for the exterior of the house. There's like a parquet wood, or maybe I don't know, like lines of wood in the exit from this moving doors. And I'm going to add grass to the sides of the house. So thank you for watching as usual, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.